Hey there, it's Elizabeth from Living Vibrantly. I am here today with a review of 6 weeks of the work. That is the name of the fitness program that I recently completed and am just getting into my second round of. This is an advanced fitness program. It is mostly strength focused, but certainly a challenge in a cardio sense as well. It will help you build a lot of muscle, I'm finding. And this was something that I wanted to do prior to having surgery and having a considerable recovery. I have been wanting to just get myself into the best shape that I can in terms of endurance, cardiovascular health, overall conditioning, and just adding as much muscle to my frame as I can, because I'm going to lose probably quite a bit of it. So trying to increase my starting point so that, however much I lose, I'm still, landing here instead of here is the idea. And this program has been one that has added muscle more quickly and effectively than almost anything that I have done. And I've done dozens of Beachbody programs at this point. I've done almost every program in the history of the catalog. There's one or two that I haven't done yet that I might need to go back and do. But anyway, pretty much any workout that Beachbody has ever come out with, I have done, and definitely everything that's come out in the last 6 years since I've been a coach. I really enjoyed this program. It is definitely for people who like a challenge. I love Shaun T workouts. Love them. I think they're really fun. Just the euphoria you get from being challenged at that level, there's nothing like it. I have clients who do not enjoy that. So I have one client who was doing Transform 20 and she just quit and went to a different program, and that was a good choice for her because she said, so Transform 20 is the one with the step, like step aerobics, but it's not. It's a very, very intense workout where you will burn hundreds of calories in just 20 minutes, like at least 300. Sometimes for me, it was like closer to 600, depending on the workout. So really insane, like almost unbelievable calorie burn. And it is a hard program. So for me, I'm like, that's really cool. I'm getting it done with in 20 minutes. But I do understand that some people are like, that's too much, right? They'd rather, it's not all about calorie burn, but to continue with that analogy, they'd rather do something that doesn't burn as many calories, but is like actually enjoyable for them, or work out for a little longer if they're trying to get, up to a certain calorie burn, activity level, etc. They don't mind something that's like a little slower paced, might be like the same number of reps spread out over a longer period of time. Anyway, so you kind of have those two categories of workouts, like the super intense, efficient workouts where like you don't miss a beat, you barely get a break, you're working the whole time, there is like not a second wasted. Okay, 6 weeks of the work is in that category versus the other category that gives you more time, like for your heart rate to return to normal and for you to just kind of like get a grip on yourself. So 6 weeks of the work is in that first category where you're not getting a grip. You have no idea what's happening to you. The workouts are 40 to 50 minutes long and you just go the whole time. 80-day obsession also I thought was like that, where you just didn't get a break. Like they were moving on to the next move and you're like, what? Weights? Which ones? What are we doing? Because it moves so fast. So if you get annoyed with the long breaks in some of the workout videos, you got to try this one because there's no breaks to get annoyed with. You'd probably be wishing that you had a little bit of a break. Anyway, that's the overall vibe of the program. The trainer's name is Amoila Cesar. He has kind of built a reputation for training basketball players, NBA professionals, and had one in particular, and several others then with similar stories, but they were at risk of getting cut from their team. And he basically in 6 weeks completely reverse their fitness from going from, the like kind of chubby and weak guy on the team to being like totally ripped and strong and capable and in tip-top shape and fast and all of it. So he turned some heads with those transformations and caught the eye of Beachbody's program development staff. And here we are. He agreed to do a program with us, and I'm glad that he did, because this one it is different. Obviously, like in any fitness program, there are going to be moves that are familiar. We have squats, we have lunges, we have bicep curls, we have push-ups. Those are all in this program. But he takes a different spin and twist on all the moves, puts them together in interesting combos. There are complex movements where, you're combining a bicep curl with this kind of like thrust outward movement, which is actually really hard for core strength because you're moving your center of gravity. There's a lot of core work that's integrated in creative ways. Like all the core work is not lying back and doing crunches. There's core work of very diverse varieties in this program. So like I was saying, you have those familiar moves, but he's adding plyometrics. He's kind of playing with the pacing. He's adding kind of different rep order and number variations. And so there's always an angle to keep it interesting. There's very little repetition in this program. You never do the same workout twice. In terms of having the style of workout, that doesn't even repeat once a week. It repeats once every 2 weeks. So the workout called legs, your leg day, you have in weeks 2, 4, and 6. Did I get that right? It might be 1, 3, and 5. Anyway, you get the idea. Only 3 workouts called legs. Now, of course, those aren't the only days that you work your legs. There's an endurance and agility workout that works the legs a lot. There's several different like total body strength formats that work the legs quite a bit. Cardio and core, you work your legs with the plyo jumping. Anyway, you get the point. But what I'm trying to say is the workout format, like, with the workout with the same name, repeats once every 2 weeks. And even then, it's not exactly the same exercises in the same order. It'll be like the same format, but different combos, different exercises, switching things up. So that's why, like, immediately after I finished this program, I wanted to start it again because I felt like I was just starting to get my groove with it. Like this time through, I recognize the moves and I understand in my body, like, here's where my balance goes and here's where I'm supposed to be feeling this. So it's, anytime you're like doing something brand new for the first time, it's really unfamiliar. It doesn't feel that good. And, I say that just kind of as an aside, but, if you're doing a new workout program after a long time of doing the same thing, it's going to feel weird and maybe kind of icky, and that doesn't mean you should quit and go back to what's familiar. I would encourage you to stick with it because it's a real rush when then the new program does start to feel familiar and you learned and you mastered something new. So that's not specific to this program. That is for any program. But for this one specifically, it is a strength-based program, but it uses lighter weights. And the way that he designed it, like I was saying before, with the compound movements and just a lot of working, with the weights away from the body, you can really see the kind of like basketball influence. You can picture, throwing a ball, passing, dribbling, and all these things that you're doing with your arms, it's very different from just doing this and doing this, right? I compare it to something like Lift 4, which is a simple lifting program, classic moves presented in a simple way. Lift 4, I could lift really heavy, like the heaviest I've lifted in my life, because it was really straightforward. Bicep curls, tricep kickback. So in this one, for example, just to go with that example, like bicep curls, you might have an isometric hold. So you're holding and then working, the other arm while the one arm is holding. So that is harder, right? Because you're maintaining time under tension. Same thing with tricep kickbacks. while you're working one arm, you're holding the other one straight and really contracting that tricep with the weight in your hand. So you can see how you wouldn't be able to use as heavy of weights as if you're just doing like 8 reps and done, right? I have never been so sore as I've been with this program. Second time around, it has been a little better. Still getting some soreness. The first time through, it was a little concerning. Like I overdid it the first couple days with the legs, because with the lighter weights, you don't realize how much you're burning your muscles out. And especially if you start out and you're already in good shape, you're thinking, yeah, I can do this. I got this. I'm going to really push through. Like, I don't understand why this is so hard, but I'm going to keep pushing. It's just kind of the mentality, for better or for worse, of, a program. It is for people who are already fit, but then the kind of person who comes into this program is going to really be pushing. And I would just advise you to maybe dial it back a little bit, because the moves are brand new to your body potentially. And, just like doing something in a slightly different way gets you sore in a whole new way. That was my experience anyway. But sometimes people think that, yeah, if you're already super fit, like there's just nothing new under the sun. Been there, done that. Like you're not going to be able to find anything that's going to challenge you in a new way. And I'm here to say this will. All right, let me see. What else did I want to tell you about this? It's a 6-week program, as the name would indicate. Workouts are 40 to 50 minutes a day. The format of the program: you get 1 rest day per week, complete rest. I mean, you could still go for a walk or maybe do some yoga, but complete rest day. And then the other, so then you'll have like 5 active sessions, 1 rest day and 1 active recovery. And he gives you 6 sessions, 1 per week, of these active recovery. Gosh, I forget what they're actually called, but they all have different names too. Like, so there's one that focuses just on shoulders, and one that focuses just on hips. And I found that I really learned a lot from these sessions. And I have a background as a yoga instructor and personal trainer. And there were still moves in here that I'd never done before and didn't really know about. And, I'm trying them in my body to understand what the purpose is. And they were doing things, for my shoulder joints, just the way that he was kind of moving and working the small muscles. So he really works like the muscles that stabilize the joint through the whole range of motion. So you can get, like stabilizing your hip in, external rotation, lifting and lowering, things like that, and stabilizing the shoulder in this, I'm not sure what you would call this position. I don't know, contracting the rhomboids maybe, but anyway, like stabilizing the shoulder joint with like that back position and then internal rotation of the arm. So it was pretty interesting to play with, because some of the movements I was like, I don't think my body moves in that direction. Not that it was a bad way to be moving, but just the muscles were very weak. And then by the end of the program, I was able to do the movements a little better. So what I want to say about those is those sessions are really valuable on their own. I would even maybe combine them with other programs and incorporate them more. Like instead of taking a full rest day, do 2 of those sessions per week potentially, or even more if you have time after your regular workout, because those sessions are super valuable in preventing you from getting injured with this program or anything else. Obviously, you need weights for this program. It also uses the resistance loops, the full circle. And these were the, as far as Beachbody workouts go, excuse me a second. As far as Beachbody workouts go, these were the loops that came with 80-Day Obsession. So the yellow, green, and blue loops. And if you have a question about which ones those are, just send me an email. I'll help you find them. You can get them from Amazon. Cheaper than Beachbody. Shh. Anyway, if you have those already from 80-Day Obsession, you obviously don't need to purchase a new set of them. But they really They really add. You can do the moves without them also, but adding that resistance, like for example, imagine if you're squatting and doing like a shuffling walk side to side, having a band, the loop around your thighs adds that resistance that forces you to engage your muscles all throughout that movement. So again, increasing the time under tension. It also uses the strength slides. So those were also used in 80-Day Obsession. They initially came out, again, as far as Beachbody workouts, they came out with plyo. So you might have those. If you don't, again, I'm happy to help you find some. Just note you'll need different coverings for a carpet or for a hard floor versus carpet. A lot of them come with both, a covering, or you can use them without the cover. A pull-up bar is optional, and I don't have one. So most of the programs showing the alternative with a pull-up bar, they'll have you do like just this with a resistance band and door attachment. This program I think is kind of cool. He has you do a complete alternative exercise, working similar muscles. So it might be an overhead like lat pullover lying back on the floor, or it might be a renegade row in plank. Ways of working some of the same muscles, but not using the door attachment, which I guess, I just liked it because it was different. I kind of got sick of the door attachment with hammer and chisel, and it also was like warping the hinges on our door, but that's a different story. Anyway, if you have a pull-up bar, awesome. If you don't have one, you can definitely do the program and still get a good benefit without it. I went over how the workouts are structured and what kind of moves are involved. I think I have covered that. As far as whether you can do this program with an injury or a physical limitation, I'm not going to say no, but just definitely proceed with caution. This is something really for a seasoned athlete. So if you have an issue, like, I don't know, an old shoulder injury or an old knee injury that you know how to work with, and and you've been active in spite of this issue, then yeah, sure. Let's talk, and I would want to hear more about your situation, and maybe I can help make some recommendations for how to modify. But, if you're coming in and you're like, I have back problems and I need things that are low impact, I don't think this is probably going to work. Most of it is low impact. There's not a whole lot of jumping, and the jumping moves that there are could definitely be modified. That's not really the issue, but just more an overall level of fitness is really a prerequisite for this program. And especially if you've been down for the count with an injury and you're just getting back into exercise, I would want you to do something else first and work up to this. There is a pre-test actually that has, you're supposed to be able to do a certain number of push-ups. On your toes, preferably, and you can do them on your knees and then work up to the toes, things like that. But there's burpees in there as well. It's been a little while since I've taken it. Let me just click and remind myself what was on it. Vertical jumps. The pull-up is optional. Holding a plank, holding a wall sit, and standing balance. So again, if you do yoga regularly, if you are pretty fit normally, probably, the burpees and the push-ups might be the hardest part, but you can probably pass the test. But if you're not passing the test, then I would probably recommend picking a different program, and I can help you with that. Just because it can be a frustrating experience if you're getting into a program and you are unable to do most of what you see the cast doing in the videos. Last thing I want to say, there is a program called 4 Weeks of the Prep. That is a preparatory program for 6 weeks of the work. So this just came out, and it is a good option. Like if you're not passing the fit test, or you just feel like you want a little more of like a gentle introduction, it's a way to learn the movements at, I think, just lower intensity, maybe lower reps, maybe lighter weight. I'm not quite sure how he's structured it because it just came out and I have not tried it yet, but that's a really good option, I think, as a transitional program. All right, I'm going to wrap things up there, but I'm at info@livingvibrantly.net. As always, if you have questions, and you're probably seeing this on YouTube, in which case there are a lot of samples, and you can go and check out a sample of each style of workout from the program, so you can see what some of the moves are. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.